Hi everyone, my name's Sean Zimmerman. Today I'm going to be changing the strings on one of my guitars, so I thought I'd show you some of the tools of the trade, some of my tricks. First let me start with some of the tools I'm going to use here. First and most important, string winder. This is the Planet Waves kind of multi-tool string winder. It's also a string cutter, which is really convenient. Nice and large too, so it's easy to handle. Some other things, since the strings are off, it's kind of nice. You get access to the fingerboard, which you normally wouldn't have. So, lemon oil. I love using this brand of it. I also sometimes use this Luthier's Choice fretboard conditioner, which is equally as good. I don't use it as much as the lemon oil though. Maybe like twice a year I actually use that stuff. To apply all that stuff, a nice microfiber cloth is really recommended. Won't leave fuzzies all over your guitar. And then, of course, you need some strings. Today I'm going to be putting on these D'Addario's brass wound nylons on my strings. So, I'll show you my next video and we'll get started. The next step of this process is to take all your strings off. There's not too much trick to this. Grab your handy multi-tool string winder and you can just place it over the tuning post up here and start turning away. I like to kind of provide some tension against it, pulling out on it. Just it keeps it from scratching your guitar, and I think it makes it faster to unwind. So, and I'll show you the next step once I get all these strings off. I'll do it all the same way. Alright, so I got all my strings off, except this last one. I wanted to include this step. When you have the strings at this end, let's see if I can get a good shot of this. See, I have this string right here, still attached at the saddle. I like to keep my microfiber cloth down here so I don't get any string ding. You can kind of just lay it over it. So this is just one way you can just as easily cut these off. I like to keep some old strings sometime just in case I need a backup for one of my other guitars. So the trick I do to this is I just loosen it up and I pull the string back through itself, and then I can pull it straight out this way without scratching the guitar, never touching it, and then I have a nice full string if I need to use it again. But this time I'm going to throw it away. Okay, now that we got the strings off, I wanted to bring to everyone's attention two really important pieces of the guitar that you might not even know about. Right here you can see on my guitar I have a removable nut. This is nice because I can clean right in here. Make sure this is all clean too. So if you do have a removable nut, which not a lot of guitars do, just make sure that you know which way it's going to go back on the guitar. You can usually tell if I hold this up. The deeper cut right here, you can see the deeper wear on this one from this one, which is much less wear. So you can just determine that this is your low metal E string, this is your nylon string. And you can also see, I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but there is a little slant to it too. And then at the other end of the guitar, slide this down, we have the saddle, which my saddle also comes out. So same thing, just keep track of where these are. These two parts are kind of interesting. They're made out of bone a lot of times. Actually, mine are definitely made out of bone. They're sometimes made out of plastic as well. So now that we got all the strings off, all the little parts removed, we're going to lemon oil our fretboard. So best way to go about this, and it doesn't take a lot of this lemon oil to do it. I'm going to move my guitar right out here so you can see it. I'm going to do this to all the frets, but basically you can just put a tiny little drop and you don't even need to do this on all the frets. That's probably plenty of lemon oil I just put on there. 3 drops for the whole fretboard should probably be good. And then take your microfiber cloth and just kind of work it in all up and down your fretboard. And lemon oil is good for any type of wood that your fingerboard may be made out of. Mine's ebony in this case, so it makes it look really nice and dark and clean. So I'm going to finish up doing this, and then we'll pick up from there. Okay, so the next step is to start putting the strings on. I prefer to put the high E string on first. This is because I will eventually tie the tail ends of the strings I'll intertwine each one of them as I go along. It's just kind of decorative. You don't have to do that. You can just cut the ends off if you want and do them in any order. So I'm going to start with my high E string right here. I'm going to put it through the little hole here. Okay, so I'm going to loop it away from me, and I'm going to loop it over and under twice. Alright, there's once, there's twice. With about an inch left and you're holding it with your right hand, you can just pull it tight. The first ones go on easy, the nylons go on easy. So it'll leave you with a little double loop knot right there. And if you pull on it with your left hand, you know, it's nice and tight. So go to this end of the guitar now. Let me see if I can get a shot of it. We'll loop this through. Stick it through the tuning post, and what I like to do is stick it back through. So I have it in this hand, I stick it back up and through, and then I go under and over, just like you'd tie just a simple knot. And you can kind of get the slack down to where you want it, depending on how many loops you want to do around your tuning post. I don't mind doing several, just so I can, just in case, you know, if I need to use the extra string again. So I started by hand. I just kind of keep tension on it with my right hand and wind it with my left hand just a little bit, just for about a loop. And you want to keep looping it over until you can cross over the string that you just wound over it, cross over the knot, and keeping tension on it until that point with your hand. At this point, it's easiest to use the string winder, and you can keep tightening these up. So I'm going to keep tightening this up. I'm going to get a few more strings on, and I'll show you about the decorative bridge with what you can do with the strings. It just kind of looks nice. Okay, so I'm about to put the last string on here, and as you can see right here, I've looped each of the tail ends of this the previous string under the next string. So I'm going to show you kind of how to do that in the last one here. And the sixth string is always the hardest one to put on, just because it's the thickest string. So what I like to do with this one is just do one loop instead of two loops. But when you do just one loop, you kind of have to be careful. And I'll show you what I mean here. Let me get this started. Okay, and right here you can see I'm going to make sure that this new string that I'm putting in goes underneath the tail end of that last one, my fifth string there. I'm just going to make sure it goes under it. Okay. And so this time I'm just going to make one loop. And usually with these Diodaros anyway, they have a little flexible end right here, which makes it a little easier. So I'm going to just try to do one loop here. Oh, make sure it's underneath. So I just went under it just one time. And when I close it though, I'm going to make sure that the tail end of the string is on the back side of the bridge here. That'll make sure it keeps a firm grip so it won't slide. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to tie it off the same way as I did the other ones, and then I'll just cut this last one completely off, and it'll make for a nice decorative bridge right there.